couple of quick questions, and starting out with one of the district council person's favorite projects, neighborhood commercial corridors. In your testimony, you talk about the capital programming recommending $25 million in existing and new funds for the neighborhood commercial corridors, but on page 25, program proposes no new city money borrowed for fiscal 18 for commercial corridors, and only $7 million in new city funds through FY23. So that appears to be a minimal investment at best. And put up against, and I want to be clear, I do support the waterfront project. Was being briefed for quite some time, because with the understanding that it will ultimately lead to significant retail and residential development, commercial development. Why is the investment on the commercial corridor side relatively insignificant to some degree, particularly on new spending? Yep. And in addition to which, I'd like to get a sense of the timing on the projects. It seems like we're waiting forever for our commercial corridors to get dealt with.
So for the latter part of the question, I'll have someone from Commerce come and answer that part. But when we were putting together the capital program this year, we looked heavily at those departments that had significant amounts of prior year funding available, and at the pace in which that could be spent down. At the time of putting the budget together, there's $18 million available in neighborhood commercial corridors, so it flows through.
It's 18 and 7.
So that's our $25 million, and so we are really hopeful and expect that money to be spent over the next year or two, or that should happen, and then at that point we can address it in FY19 as we kind of put the budget together again. We're trying to change the criteria a little bit around the capital program, and you see this actually throughout the capital program and the capital budget in particular, in the fact that we want to make sure that we change the way that we allocate funding to make sure that that funding is spent as we allocate it. In the past, there's been a kind of a practice where people kind of store up and build up enough money for projects and then spend it.
You're talking about me?
No, I am not, Councilman. I'm not. But I think it's in the fact that everybody knows that there's limited resources, and so departments have typically kind of asked for a little bit less and waited until they have a certain number of years, and then they can spend that amount. We're trying to sort of change that process. So you'll see, for example, in Fleet, we gave $4.5 million for that project.
I'll do, not to cut you off, but if we can get back to my original question.
I will, but I just wanted to give you the explanation, because it does affect other things with the capital program.
Let's talk about commercial.
But yes, so $18 million is why that we didn't see the need to put additional money in the 18 capital budget.
So is your issue that the ability to spend the money is limited in a timely way? I guess I'm trying to understand, like, if one of you're saying that, you made this, and I think it's a minimal investment, and now you want to change the structure or the nature of how you make determinations on allocating capital dollars, and we have 25 stacked up, is the term we use, kind of to a degree you use. If there's a problem in getting these programs implemented, can we change the nature of our capital implementation process? I mean, I got a recent commercial corridor spending on, I think, Girard Avenue. We did some new, but it's like you get one every 3 years. Is there a reason why we can't do multiple or concurrent commercial corridors? If it's a staffing issue, is a capacity issue? I'm sorry.
No, it's all right. Good morning. Karen Fegley, Deputy Commerce Director. I'd like to respond to the concerns and challenges of getting these projects done. We do have a number of projects going on simultaneously at different stages, and I can run down some of those, but understanding they do take a long time. And part of that is because we are trying to be smarter and sort of get the most bang for our buck as far as working with streets and water to collaborate, make sure a project is getting the full treatment, that we're not going to go back a year later and do something else. We're also trying to leverage those funds and apply for state funds wherever we can. And so I think, to Anna's point, we have been the money that we have, that we've, in prior years, we've been sort of using that as match when we then apply for funds. And then that means we have to then wait for those funds to be awarded and under contract. So I think going forward, we will put in for the funds with match that for future years. And we will then go to the budget office and say, we've got this award, we need these match dollars. But I would like to give you and everyone a rundown of the projects underway.
Well, let me respond to, or ask a question in response to what you just said. So what matches or what source of matches are we looking at as it relates to capital, particularly commercial corridors? Do we get a match from state, federal? Yeah,
the state, through both DCD and PennDOT, they have a grant program called the Multimodal Transportation Fund. There's also something called Green Light Go. I'm not the expert on any of these. We coordinate with Otis and Streets and figure out which projects go for which, and we help them submit the applications. But I think the funding sources change depending on what state and federal funds are available. They come up with new grant programs.
All right. Can you do me a favor? Can you give us, because I think you're getting ready to read off a list of projects that are currently in the process, whatever phase. Can you get to us a list of those projects and the potential match or likely match or existing match for those different commercial corridors?
Which ones are using money other than just city money?
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, that would be helpful, and then I can understand that if we're waiting. And I still understand this issue about what they used to call it the trenching of infrastructure when we're supposed to align new water, sewer, cable, all the other things that may files now, right? But it never seems to work because invariably we tear the sidewalk up and 2 months later somebody comes back up and I think we need to do a better job on that.
Right, that's a balance.
Yeah, I saw recently did this new project with street resurfacing and what's it called, pervious streets or whatever. And like 3 months later somebody came up and tore the street up, right? It's like amazing. All right, could you do that? And one other question before I relinquish the mic. Recently, we just had I believe, Councilman Jones, Heenan, and myself, along with the school district superintendent and a number of other people, talked about dealing with the school district's capital project problem, $4 billion worth needed capital improvement, and a significant portion of that, assuming that our program gets implemented, utilizing energy retrofit. Are we taking a similar approach on our municipal buildings? I'm assuming in rebuild we will, but outside of rebuild, the many municipal buildings that we have comparable to what we did in the triplex for capital improvements.
Yeah, I think the city's energy director.
I'm gonna get a good answer here. He's in a hurry to get up here. How you doing?
Good morning.
Good.
My name is Adam McGallico. I'm the energy manager for the City of Philadelphia and the Office of Sustainability. So the city's moving forward with a couple of investments that are outside of the rebuild program.
Okay.
Kind of the biggest one that we're working on right now is at the Philadelphia Museum of Art, where we've got an energy performance contract. We just are reviewing qualifications. We hope to have the RFP. So we did an RFQ. We've got an RFP that's being drafted. Following that, we're looking to explore opportunities at the prison complex as well as some of our public safety facilities. We've started talking with finance a little bit about how those will be financed and how we're going to kind of budget for those. But what I've heard from folks, and I think there's folks that are better kind of educated to explain how we're going to finance those projects, is that there's support to do those, whether it be through bond financing or other methods.
Yeah, I mean, there are like 3 options based on the model that we're going to use at the school district.
Yeah. And all of this work, of course, is being coordinated with the Philadelphia Energy Authority, kind of part of the larger Philadelphia Energy Campaign.
All right, okay, because I think it's very important for us to address needs, particularly the long-term advantages of doing the energy retrofit, not just short-term capital needs, but the savings associated with over a period of time. So beyond those, I actually knew about those 2 because I'm dealing with the energy authority. But beyond those 2, do we have a schedule or a strategy for the remaining municipally owned buildings outside of rebuild?
So I should also mention we've been working with the rebuild team to develop standards so that
Right.
projects that are done there also incorporate some base level of energy efficiency. We're also hoping that some of those kind of standards and guideline documents can be adopted by the capital program office so that kind of all projects get that. But to answer your question about kind of what the strategy and plan is, the city and the energy office has been leading a energy master plan for municipal assets, and that's going to kind of provide a roadmap of the different types of investments we need to make to meet the mayor's commitment around reducing carbon pollution, as well as to kind of help out with some of the deferred maintenance and kind of energy and efficiency
Right.
issues that we have in city buildings.
Great. Yeah, I knew I'd get a good answer out of you. The reason I'm very interested in this because I made the mistake of standing up on the stage and saying we're going to create 10,000 jobs, right? We're got a little ways to go, so the sooner we can get this done, the better. But thank you for your response.
Thank you.
Thank you.